So, welcome to the main cut. I'm your host, Jade, and today I'm really excited to be here with celebrity stylist and wig engineer Darnell Davis. He has decades of experience in the hair industry and has made wigs for so many people, from the likes of Nikki Mudarris to Tamron Hall to even Beyonce herself. He has been the man behind many iconic styles and moments in Hollywood. But today we're going to talk about Darnell's journey in the industry, how he got to where he is today, and, share his words of wisdom to other up and coming stylists that are interested in pursuing a similar path. So welcome to the show. Like I said, we're really lucky to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. I know things can be incredibly busy, especially when, you're in and out of different sets and working with so many people. But first, what we would love you to tell us more about is, your journey. How did it all start and how did you get to where you are now?
Well, what an interesting question. I've always had a passion for hair. For me, it was one of those things that everybody around me kind of helped to nourish the gift that I had from a very young age.
Mm,
My intro and discovery with hair was a little unique, and I think that story is like really a big deal. I had like two options to choose from. Either I would do music or I would do hair. And the reason why is because in the place that we live, my mom and my aunt had a roommate. And when we were staying in this house, we were probably about five, I don't remember, but we had like a roommate who was a friend of my aunt's, and he played an instrument. And the instrument was like, I think, a saxophone. And he had it inside of the closet. And also in that closet was my mom's beauty school kit. She had gone to beauty school and she never finished. And I have always been like, just a lurker. I'm gonna look around the house and find something. And so I found those two things. I kind of ran into them both the same day, and I opened up the set of rollers, and these were beauty school rollers. So at that time, they weren't like the magnetic rollers where you clip it and it just closes. These were like
mm,
literally the ones you had to stick the pin through. So you needed to know how to get the hair to stay on there, and then also the
mm.
technique. So for me, it was like, I don't think I can like break that code today. Let me put this back. But this instrument, I've seen people play it before. All they do is just blow in it. And so for a while, maybe for about a couple months, I don't know, it probably was a year. Like maybe once a week, I would go in that closet and kind of play with those two things. And then one day I just was like, I can't figure out this instrument and it's not making the noise that everybody else makes. So
Mm.
let me try this roller out again. And so just going back into that just interesting or interested me at a very young age. I kind of figured it out, asked a few questions, and was like, oh, okay, I can do this. From there, it just kind of fast forward, and it was a snowball effect. I started to do my sister hair when she was a little girl. So she's probably 2 years younger than me. So every time she would do picture day, I did her hair for
Mm.
all of that because my mom didn't do a good job and she knows it. She had all boys and she had one girl. So the moms were all boys and one girl. They daughter usually look a little crazy. And so I was like, not on my watch. My sister had red hair when she was like 8. She had a rent. She had literally had anything you can think of. I remember being so desperate to fuse hair to her head that I actually, oh God, sis, I'm sorry. But I remember super gluing hair into her hair,
Oh
literally
no.
strand by strand. I was super gluing, but it wouldn't stick because the super glue was not the right consistency to like actually hold the hair to bond it. And that was a
Um,
whole thing. I remember just like I've always been that person that's not afraid to try something new, not afraid to
mm,
jump off like this is an idea. If we take what they already got out and we take it to this level, we can probably
yeah.
get this result. And I've always been one of those type of people. So hair was like the base of who I am. As
Mm,
I got older, I really fell in love with extensions. Like I said, with my sister, she was really one of those people that I was able to explore with. But I
mm,
also had friends of my mom's who wore wigs and wore extensions that were like, Darnell, let me have you do it. I think you can do a weave. And from there, it
mm,
turned from hairstylist to weave artist. and installation or extension specialist. And the installation process was like my passion. It was the braiding the hair down for protective measures and then
Mm,
going into that whole creating a new foundation. What do you want your new
mm,
hair to look like? We put all of your hair away and we protected it. So it was just about taking my clients on that journey. And I think I would say approximately in my license career, maybe like 2 to 5 years in my license career, I was just like, I got my license when I was 19, so
right.
25. It was probably even before then. I can't even hold you. It's probably more so after high school because when I was in high school, I loved extensions, but it started to shift to wigs a little bit. And after I
Mm,
got out, I got into the beauty school world, and what really kind of deterred me from really going into the wig industry was the fact that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a student. I'm gonna go to beauty school and everything in beauty school, I'm just gonna absorb it. We get
mm.
through all of the chapters and then we get to the wig chapter. It was one page and half of the page was pictures.
Oh,
And
wow.
literally it was like 5 or 6 bullet points. So I'm like, what y'all said is bullshit because there's so much more in
Ah,
the world of wigs than just. They said that wigs started from an ancient, man who wanted to have. I think it was like something about a ancient rich man who wanted to be able to cover his head or something like that. It was
mm,
very out of touch with like modern day why women wear wigs. And
mm,
for me, it just became like, no, what are they talking about? They don't even, how are they teaching? And they're not even giving us the proper education for wigs. That was
mm,
just like a little red flag in the back of my head. So that after I would get out of beauty school, I feel like that was like my mission, my purpose, like figuring out where the rest of that information was.
right.
And as I went on that journey, YouTube was my friend, and I ended up purchasing a book from the UK or London or somewhere. I just really don't remember, but it wasn't here. I purchased a book
Mm,
from somewhere else, and it was a book about wig making. I'm trying to think, maybe the manual of wig making. And
mm,
so the manual of wig making with my studies of YouTube videos, and I did purchase one knotting video from a place here called His and Her. And
right.
with all of that, all of my knowledge and how I knew how to, put things together and kind of work something out, like I'm going to figure this equation out. I was able to
Mm,
get to a comfortable place in the wig world by teaching myself enough. But honestly, it took a lot of just like continuous repetition because there's really something special about that person who does 10,000 hours versus the person that just
mm,
did 1,000 that really
mhm,
knows that thing inside and out, right? And so I
mhm,
wanted to get to know wigs that way, and it just wasn't a lot of information. So I decided when I was in New York getting ready to move, I was probably like 19, 20. Actually, that's a lot. I was probably like 24, 25. Right
mm,
before the end, I decided that I wanted to try to shift all of my clients. 'Cause I had done it before. All of my clients from regular, just natural hair clients to extension clients. And if they weren't extension clients, I'm not doing your hair no more. That's literally how I was operating because
ah,
you're not feeding my little bug. I am doing this because I love it. And if I'm not getting fed from it, I can't even do it for you.
mm,
So I just, decided to shift all of my clients, and it was so beautiful just to be able to have all of those clients with extensions. I did extensions in natural hair for a little bit, and then it
mm.
just went all to extensions. And then it was really a struggle to get my clients to understand wigs
Oh, okay.
because people were so, I don't know, at this time I was living in New York. And so to give people context, New York was at the time in 2019, or not 19, 2014, 2015. They were so into like the kinky straight hair. If it wasn't kinky straight, they're not putting it in because it
Ah,
doesn't mimic natural black girl's hair, right? And so it was
right.
always so difficult to get them to like try a curly look or try a wavy look. These are like options that you have, and you want your hair to look like yours. That's literally the same amount of heat damage that you're already putting on your hair that you don't have to do that step anymore. And so it was
Mm,
really just about trying to educate them. And one of my assistants, Frank, he always says the more that you educate the audience, the more the audience will understand what it is that they're purchasing and why they're so
mm,
excited about the purchase. But if they
mm.
don't know what it is that they need and why it's so valuable and important, then it's kind of like, ah, yeah, you're just trying to sell me something. And so I went on a mission from then to just kind of learn as much as I could. And I went from there to becoming a beauty school teacher. I was
Mm.
teaching at a Veda in New York City for approximately like 3 years,
Oh.
and I reached my peak. I was like, listen, I've worked in the salons, I've done this, I've done that. I'm a teacher. Who would ever thought I'd be a teacher? I gotta go chase my dream. And so I just left. I packed up. This was probably like a November, or maybe a October, November. By
Mm.
March, I was gone. I had packed my stuff up and moved to LA. And when I got there, my mission was not to do any natural hair, was to do all wigs and extensions. And
Mm.
I got there, and it didn't work out quite that way immediately. However, after a while, it was one of those things. I kind of thought it through. And then I started to doubt myself because the reason, I mean, you can't just get up and move from one coast to another without really thinking things through. Like, what am I going to
Mm.
serve? Who is my audience? What does that look like? And so in my
Mm.
mind, I realized that the people in LA, they wear wigs. The people in LA are on TV and film sets, so they understand wigs. So that was
Right.
already the biggest battle that I was facing in New York, was trying to convince people to wear it. So now I'm in a place where people will naturally wear them. I just need to convince them to stop wearing it the way they're wearing it because it look horrible. So it was literally about coming in and just like doing a couple good weaves, getting some photos, getting some images, posting it on social, and connecting my people to say, hey, I'm here. This is where I'm at. Like, you see my
Mm.
face. This is what I can do. And things just kind of, took off from there. It wasn't a cakewalk at all, but, things happened the way they were supposed to.
Oh, amazing. And I think education is a huge thing, right? Not just for, well, as much for, like you said, stylists as it is for customers, because if in textbooks and if on courses they don't have all of that information, then, stylists are in a position where they have to go looking before they can even serve people properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, And I mean, given that you did all of that work and you put yourself in that position where you could move from one side of the states to another, how did you end up with your first gig with a celebrity
A
out in
celebrity.
LA?
Okay, so because I did absolutely no celebrities in New York. It was one of those things that it was so I did celebrity no, I didn't do celebrities in New York. I probably did like small people, but like people that were literally like walking the street, the producers of a show, not really the artists and
Mm.
the stars, right? But I learned a lot there. I learned a lot just about the industry because had I just like been thrown into it, it probably would have been a lot of hiccups along the way. So I did get to learn like what it's like to be a producer. What are the thoughts
Mm.
that they're having before they go into the room with artists, right? So these are just conversations that I think I was preparing for. The
Mm.
question that you asked is so juicy and colorful because I knew, well, even now when you look at the people that I've worked with, all of my associates, friends, and classmates, even just high school classmates, middle school, I've always said I was going to do what I'm doing.
Mm.
I don't know if I fully believed it, but I knew that I would like keep doing the work to get to where I wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is like I just kept believing every day. I started to think of something different because if you're not getting the recognition that you know that you deserve, you have to put yourself in position to do so. And I'm always
Mm.
just like, I'm always going to sit back and say, well, what is it that I can do better? What is it that the world needs from me, right? It's really about taking everything that's going on around you and then taking that mirror and then saying, what can I do to serve everything out there with what I have in here, right? And I remember when people would they all when I was in New York, whenever somebody wanted to display their work, they would put on a show for Fashion Week. Okay. So what are you going to do? My mind was, okay, my work needs to be, I need to put a collection together because nobody
Mm.
cares about one wig. What are you going to do with that? What story does that tell? And so I
Mm.
really wanted to tell a story. This story was called The Stormy Romance. I was going through a terrible breakup. I was actually homeless. I
Mm.
was just sleeping under stairs. I had slept under stairs in a parking structure because I lost everything. A long story. I went through it, but I was sleeping under stairs in a parking structure because I had lost everything. Me and my partner had broke up. I just found out that I had HIV, and I could not wrap my mind around why I'm still here on this earth. And so it was
Mm,
so important for me to just like figure out something that made me excited, something that made me
mm,
love life again. Because at this point, I was just like doing anything, knowing that if I died, I was chasing my dream. Like I literally
mm,
didn't know what my next day was gonna be, because at that point I had just found out what HIV was. I was literally in a panic every day, depressed every day. Didn't know if I was gonna live, taking medicine, but didn't even know if what the medicine would do. Thank God I'm so much past that right now in my life that I don't have that mindset. But when I tell you, those thoughts were almost debilitating to the point that I used to stay in the bed. And that being homeless, for me, I always tell people that was what I desired. I remember saying, God, take everything from me. I don't want the responsibilities of any bills. I just want to be able to
mm,
live. I love California. I love the weather. You will make it okay for me. I know that you'll keep doing what you got to do. And so I just stayed in my pocket of what I needed to do. I needed to be in that environment, because every day what it did for me, you can't sleep all day when you're homeless, right? So you got to get
mm,
up, right? It pushed me to get
mm.
up and do something, and it challenged me to every day get out. I was on, YouTube, just YouTube and different videos, and I didn't even have the supplies to make a wig, but I was dreaming about it, right? And so one day I finally got a little bit of money to start, believing in myself. This vision started coming to me, and every day I would sit down with it and just go a little bit deeper and be like, you know what? In New York, they put on fashion shows for their, stuff. I'm putting together a collection. And, it started to come together. Like I said, I was going through a toxic relationship. I decided to title it The Stormy Romance. And it was just about this hair that had wind in it, right? I loved wind hair, right? And it just
Mm,
showed this hair, everything was really soft. Everything was like, just, it was the natural texture of the hair. Nothing was curled. Everything was about natural texture of the hair, and
right.
emphasizing what a good wig looks like with the natural texture of the hair. So we had curly, wavy, straights. And this collection was, I believe, was some of my, I put hard work into it. It wasn't the best. Now I tell everybody, if you do something, don't expect for it to be the best the first time. It's never going to be the best. And so it was far from the best. But what
Yeah.
it did is it pushed me to be great, and it pushed people to see that I'm serious about what it is I do. I took those
Mm,
wigs back. I thought that, oh, I might get a friend or two or a client that might walk through, because I did invite. I invited every celebrity. I invited Beyonce, Tamron. I invited anybody I seen on Instagram at the time. I
mm,
wrote a DM to them saying, "Come to my show." Nobody came. Nobody. Absolutely none of those celebrities came. Absolutely none of them. But the people that
mm,
did come were my clients and
mm,
uh, and my family. And those are the
mm,
people that invested in me and believed in me from the beginning of my dream. So those are the people that I needed to see my work anyway, to tell me that was good. Great job, Darnell. You're doing what you needed to do. Because the real
mm.
mission wasn't in New York. The real mission was when I brought everything back to California after the showcase. I don't know how, but I randomly get a call from a girl that I used to work with. Her name is Micah Brown. And she was like,
Right.
I have this client. Her name is Erica Campbell. Erica Campbell is from the award winning group Mary Mary. And
Yeah.
I was always a fan of this woman, like literally.
Mm,
And that was just the day that me and Erica became like, that was my new, client that I got to work with. And the craziest thing was that I got to make this wig. I didn't even know it was for her head.
mm,
But I remember it fit her head like a glove when she put it on. And she said, "Oh my God." She literally
mm.
put the wig on. And then 2 days later, she was in Vegas filming for the Gospel Awards. And my wig
Uh,
was literally on national television. So it goes from this show that I'm like, oh, nobody's going to see it. My family and friends got the entire world getting it literally. And it was when even with my clients, any of my clients, when they feel good about their hair because they go on the stage and they perform at a level
mm,
that you wasn't expecting it to be. The
mm,
hair is a part of the performance now. And that energy
mm,
alone gives me like so much excitement to know that what I've done is actually like satisfaction. I mean, I get
mm,
that same result whenever I'm doing a regular client. And she's like, "Oh my God, I've been hoping that somebody can do my hair like this."
mm,
Those words, that excitement, that level of connection that you have with somebody is like, it beats every part of the lowest frequency of this industry that I could even, talk about or experience, like that gives you the energy to just be excited and keep moving.
No, that's amazing to hear how you also turned something that was what I can only imagine is such a painful experience into you pushing towards your dream. Because in those situations, like you said, it's so easy to just sit there in the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just sitting there, I'm sure you had to take some time to sit in it, but instead of just sitting there in the pain, you used it to motivate you to get you to where you are, which is, that's no easy feat.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't easy by any means. I definitely turned my pain into power. Um, but I really got it because homelessness was not easy. Like, and I say it so nonchalantly because I went through it. Like, it's a part of who I am. Like, I'm not ashamed of where I've been and what I've done because I did those things to be able to show up today. Right? Like, I had to do that in order to be here. Like, and if I didn't do that, I probably would have killed myself or did something else that wasn't, productive to me being here today. And so those moments were not easy. It was one of the hardest things ever because during that time, I also was the prayer warrior for my family. And I remember having to, I had a prayer line and I started this prayer line. Don't know why. I started this prayer line when I had a house. Then I had to keep the prayer line going when I didn't have a house. And so we would do this at 5 a.m. every morning. So you just got to imagine, first of all, I get woke up by the security every day to get my ass from under the stairs because it's illegal to do so. And so I already know the time that they come. So I'm like, let me get my stuff. It's time to go. So I get up, get myself together. But in the midst of all of that, I'm still outside. So all you hear is traffic and cars, right? So mind you, I'm calling into this prayer line. And everybody's like, well, what's that loud noise? I'm just like, I don't know who it is, right? And it's my background. But yet I remember the mission was so clear that I had to pray for my aunt who was going through cancer at the time. And if I didn't do it, that we would not help her in that time that she needed our help. So it was so much bigger than me in that time. It was so many days. I was just like, why am I even doing this? But it was more so about serving the higher purpose than like really like making it all about me.
And that level of selflessness to still be able to give your all to your family when you're going through your own struggles and to be the one leading, taking the lead with making sure that prayer was done and that other people were looked after speaks volumes. Because like I say, a lot of people wouldn't be able to get out of their own situation for long enough to be able to do that for other people. So that is amazing. And also, I hope inspiring to other people that are probably going through their own struggles whilst they're trying to pursue their dream too.
Don't be afraid to surrender. That's the best gift that I learned is like, oh, it was moments when I was just like, why is this happening? What are you doing, God? This is crazy. And that fight didn't serve me. It got me nowhere. All it did was drive me crazy. It was literally like, I remember one day I was sitting in the car. I'm like, yo, God, I really asked for this, huh? Yo, you wow, you gave me all of that ish I was talking about. This is crazy. But it was about surrender so much that I could even have that conversation in the back of my car to know that it wasn't me talking to me, that it was me talking to a higher power. Like that is so important. Like you have to, like it's so many things that I just like shed in this life. It's like, how you see the snake and you see the crab and they all shed their skin, right? And they come out. I've done that so many times. God knows it. God knows it. God knows it. And it's not because I wanted to, because it's like it's time to level up and you getting comfortable with what I had you at. But I'm telling you, bro, you got places bigger than what you could ever imagine. And God promised me that. He promised me that. So I'm just gonna keep walking it out. And when my time is up, trust me, when he run that little deep line on my little heart, I promise you everything that I was supposed to accomplish will be accomplished in its full capacity, only because I know I surrendered.
And that's a huge part of stepping into the things that you're meant to do. You have to kind of let go of all the things that you think and want and just say that take the wheel because you can't have
Hmm.
two people steering a car at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And you can't have, yeah, faith and worry can't live in the same place. So
Mm,
yeah.
no, that's so true. And I mean, given all of the things that you've experienced, what are some of the most important lessons that you have learned throughout your career?
Oh, my career, girl. Jesus Christ. I'm learning every day. One thing about me is that I love my art.
Mm,
I love my art, and I will fight down for it. I'll fight my clients down for it because I love it. Like I'm not just doing this because you're gonna
mm,
pay me for it. Because you're gonna pay me for it. That's not even a question. But it's not that I'm only doing it for that reason. But you got to look at the little boy in me when you look at me, because there was a little boy who sacrificed his whole childhood for this thing right here. Like, and it wasn't that I sacrificed it, but it was that I found it. And I went on a mission my whole childhood to like explore this thing. So I'm just passionate. And so some of the things that I really like just like learned in this industry or in my career were that no matter how passionate you are, you still have to listen
mm,
to those around you. No matter how much you really, really love this passion, you also have to have respect for others and the way that they respect their work.
mm,
And it's simple that, the way that you see something may not always be how somebody else sees it, but that doesn't mean that I, it's a lot of you'll look at somebody and be like, bro, why is that person even successful? Their
mm,
art looks terrible. Like they keep showing up and doing this awful ass work, but they book the jobs with all of the people that I know I can work with and really take it to the next level.
mm,
There's something about that level of envy and want that another person has that I feel
mm,
God uses to allow us to remember that we have specific and unique goals
mm,
only we can like accomplish. And we have to remember that just because that person's doing it, baby, when it's your turn, you gonna
mm,
do it the way it's supposed to be done. But it's just sometimes you look and it's I guess the last thing would just be don't be jealous of what the other player has in their hands, because
mm.
God is gonna do something extraordinary with what's in your hands as well. So it's just like, accepting everything you got and not being jealous of what others have.
No, that's a big lesson to be learned, especially in an industry where, people are, especially people that want to work with celebrities.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
don't.
a
Though.
oh
I'm telling.
really?
I never wanted to work with celebrities. I always knew that my work needed to be seen around the world. I never wanted to work
Mm,
with celebrities. I knew the art that I was creating was so good that it had to
yeah,
be on a stage. Like when I
right.
tell you the strategy in my mind was not I'm coming to California and I'm gonna make wigs and all celebrities are going. No, it was
Mm,
literally like, Darnell, who are you gonna work with when you get there? Who wears wigs?
mm,
Who wears wigs in the public eye? Who
yeah.
wears wigs and everybody knows they wear wigs? Like it was literally
Mm,
like that. And that's how I got to my vision, my goal, my destination, because I was specific. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm
yeah.
just gonna make wigs. No, girl, I was like literally like, who wears wigs and who wears them on the biggest stage? Who does
Yeah.
everybody know for wearing wigs? That's where I'm
Mm,
going. And that literally, girl, when the Beyonce call, I'm just when the Beyonce call came through, I already remember, like I told you, I taught myself everything. I
yeah.
remember it coming and I felt it coming. And I was like,
Mm,
nope, I'm not doing this. I literally told Nakia, no, I'm not ready. I'm not doing this. I've
mm,
taught myself everything and I will not be putting nothing trash out there, because one thing I learned is that the
mm,
moment you put something bad out, client will always remember that. They will
yeah.
never remember how good your work is. All they'll remember is that one bad experience, and I'll never do
Mm,
that. So that's if I'm going, especially if it's my first time. And
mm,
so one of the things that just happened in that situation was we talked about it, and Nakia was just like, "Listen, Darnell, I know you're great. I know you overthinking, but I need you to try it. And I promise when you make it, if it's not right, we're going to have all of the notes to make sure that it's right. And it literally turned, I made that wig the first time. It was beautiful. I thought it was beautiful. But I learned even in that moment how to level up. I've just been making wigs for my clients. And then to have a client who already knows about wigs giving me notes about how she want her wig, oh, bitch, I was eating it up. It was like going to school. It was literally that chapter that I didn't get in the thing, right? That in the book, it was a hands-on experience with clients. And so whenever I get a client who knows about wigs, I don't like a client who talk about they wear lace fronts and they getting their wigs from Ali and all these 613 wigs that they just buying. That is not a wig, child. That's a helmet. Stop. But the people who really like understand wigs, I get so excited because what I know is when they get it, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this is the one I've been looking for." They get so excited. They're like, "Oh my God, this is the art I thought it was gonna look like in person. It actually looks that way." And so that really, it just excites me. That excites me. But I'm gonna charge. I don't know if I said that in the beginning. You gonna get the invoice. Okay, ain't nothing for free. We ain't doing that. It's literally so much work. Like wig making, ventilation. I'm sorry, y'all. It is not the same as putting a perm in. It's not the same as putting a color in. It's not the same as doing a haircut. It's not the same as none of those keratin. It ain't the fucking same, y'all. It is not. And the reason why it's not is because it takes a mental discipline to have to sit there every day and know that you work for 9 hours and you got a 4x4 square. Feels like you've done nothing. Like, and when I say a 4x4 centimeter, girl, not no inches. Okay, like, girl. And so for me, it's one of those things that you have to respect ventilators and wig engineers because the discipline that they have. It's beyond anybody in this industry. It's literally beyond ventilators. And I love a board worker. That's people who actually make hand-tied wefts and things like that. Love those people because the time that it takes to actually sit there, people love to just run things through a machine. I don't know what's happening, but if we just talk about China is running those damn wigs through a machine. There's no actual way that they can be making wigs at the level that they're making them by hand. There's not enough Asian women sitting down, bored the hell out of their mind, making these wigs anymore. Like that was probably a thing in the early 2000s, but to this day, like we just don't know what those machines look like yet because nobody took a picture yet. But they exist, and whatever they're doing, I hate it because no matter what the Asian factories do, the way that they ventilate, it's not by hand. So there's no way to actually get it to look natural. So when you do things with the machine, it's literally like it's going in and out and it's out of the way. Whereas a hand can like say, okay, the hair on this side naturally would go slightly forward or go slightly back. And you can add those details that you'll never get from, a factory wig. And that really is where like the money is, girl.
Yeah, and I
That
can imagine
detail.
it's hours, it's days of work.
Oh my gosh, like beyond.
So let's say somebody's come to you, they want you to make a custom wig. From that moment that you've had that conversation with them, what does that process look like?
Okay, so the consultation is extremely important. Just saying that you want a wig is literally like that's scratch in the background. That doesn't exist because you done nothing yet. One of the most critical moments that sets everything in foundation for me is the fitting, or not the fitting, but the actual consultation and the mold being made. If I don't have a mold of your head, I'm not making a wig for you. And the reason why is because there's two types of people in the world, and I don't care what y'all say. It's the people that wear wigs that fit like a mitten, and then there are people who wear wigs that fit like a glove. There's a difference. A mitten, you can put all your fingers in there. You got all this wiggle room, right? And you just got that thumb in a position to lock yourself in, right? A glove has so much more detail. It curves around every single finger. That's what a mold is going to do. It's going to take the actual shape of your hair, give me that shape so that when I'm building the foundation of the wig, I'm not making it too big, too small. If you're curving your hair, this wig is going to hug. And when you put it on, you're going to feel secure versus saying, oh, yeah, it's on. Put a band inside it. What a band is doing. A band is doing nothing but damaging y'all hair. It pisses me off. First of all, because
Mm,
actually, I have people who are really up there putting bands in their wigs, and that makes me. It's like it's a pet peeve because what you do is
oh,
you got this lace that's so delicate,
mm,
and now you're putting this elastic inside, and what it's doing is it's causing tension on that really fine lace. At any point, if you got the right amount of tension, that thing will split right down the middle. So now all of our work is what? Gone. We got to start all
right.
over. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. If you get the wig made the right way, if you give them your mold, stop being lazy, clients. This is what pisses me off. If y'all just take the time to sit
Mm,
your ass down, have a conversation, drink you some coffee, take you a nap, and get a mold made of your head. It's so critical. That's literally the first step. Okay, so consultation
mm,
measurements. We go from there. I'm actually obsessed with every step. So from there, it's a matter of saying, okay, what kind of hair are we going to do? The hair
right.
that we do is all going to be sourced raw hair. We're not doing wefted hair. We're not doing already
Mm,
made bundles. That's not happening. So from bundles, raw bundles, I'm going to go and decide what texture are we making this hair? What color are we
right.
making this hair? Do we need it to be naturally blonde? What like, where are we going with it? What's the goal? Figuring that
Mm,
all out and then having our game plan set with the perming, the color, the descaling, if we have to do any of that.
mm,
And so those are our like just hair prep steps. Then from hair prep goes the foundation. We're building up our foundation. So now we have our mold, we've got our hair, we're building up our foundation. From the foundation, at that point, we kind of decide whether we need tracks or not. So we go back to the
right.
hair and make the hair into tracks if we need that or not. But other than that, we're going in to start building. So building is either ventilating or sewing the tracks on. And that process is approximately for me anywhere from I guess the quickest wig I've probably ever done is maybe like a little 24-hour doobie. But yeah, I honestly, it never looked that great. The quickest I could probably do a really good one is maybe 72 hours. And that's
Okay.
really me up all night long. And you going to pay 7 times the amount because every night that I don't sleep, that's double my pay. Um, we not
Oh,
doing that.
oh,
And so just sacrifice is real. You think
yeah.
I'm not about to get no sleep for no money? God, please, you gonna pay me. And so I just think that, working hard in those two categories, it kind of pays off because then the end is like that little final fitting. Once you finish it, you do like a fitting with the client and just kind of have them come in and put it on to see if it's good. And then from there, we can also kind of see if the lace tone is blending right. All those little things that we can correct imperfections, and then we have our final, and that's probably I would say maybe like I said 75 to 120 hours. And if we're doing a full lace,
Wow.
I can definitely get into 150 hours because like right now I'm working on one that's really long. So you got to imagine you
Okay.
tie in the hair, then you have to like, could you
Oh,
imagine that all day? Like, you literally extended your arm for like
all day
hours.
long.
So that just takes so much time. And so, depending on how long the hair is, it takes a little bit longer.
That's yeah, that's that's a process
Girl,
because
and
that's
then I'm ADHD on top of that. Could you imagine doing all of that, having adult hypertension disorder? Like, I literally be like, girl, all over the place. So for me, it's important, even in this industry, it's important to have like a morning routine, a midday
yeah,
routine, and a night routine. That
yeah,
helps me to whenever I'm all over the place, I can meditate and be in it and ready to go, right? And that self-discipline is the reason why I also feel like, success comes my way. Is because I've given myself the discipline by myself to actually be able to receive these things when they come.
yeah. And it's just the amount of effort that has to be put into taking people through those each of those steps because some people will have no idea what that
Oh
process
my
looks
God, girl, you know they ain't got no patience. You said
like.
they ain't got no patience. They're like, why are you talking to no? And those people aren't the clients for me though. Because I'm excited about the person who's excited about the journey. The person
Yeah.
that just wants it right now, she probably needs to go online to the Chinese factory right now and order hers offline. She don't really want what I got.
Mm,
She want the look of what I got, but she not and when she get it, she not even gonna treat it right. She gonna damage the lace. The wig's gonna fall
mm,
apart before it needs to. She not gonna send it in for
mm,
updates. She not gonna send it in for repairs. So that client is not my client.
That's fair. And it's also good to know. I think that's one thing for that stylists need to bear in mind as they're building up their career, right? Is like who is the client that you want to go
Yeah,
after? Because you will have to
yeah,
say no to certain types of
yeah,
people to get the
yeah,
clients that you want.
yeah. Absolutely. That's been a beautiful experience. But I also would have to say that the beauty of my life and my career is that I think because I was a beauty school teacher, I learned to like watch and see what other people are good at. And what that does for me is it also helps me to like work with other stylists because I don't want to do the wig. I don't want to put the wig on the client. I don't deal with the client after I make it. We don't even need to talk, girl. All I need to do is see my wig on you. I'm good. My relationship with the stylist is what I really value because that's the person that
Mm,
gets to talk to the client and really they're like when they take the wig off, this is the person that's going to maintain the wig and like treat the
yeah,
wig and all of these. So it's important for me to not only communicate these things to the client but really to the stylist because that's the person who's going to see this client a lot more than me. I'm not even in
yeah.
that avenue anymore where I'm just, styling everybody. I'm really like I love making wigs. I'm the guy. You want a good wig? Call Double D because I got you, girl. Like I'm the one. But everything else, like you trying to get me to come on set and stuff. I'm over that season of my life. I can do it if needed. But I just don't. I thrive in a place of building from the foundation, the art, so that it can go out and the artist can wear it and look, the way that they want to be presented in the world.
Yeah, and that's it's so important to find that balance, right, between you wanting to help the client but also get the information out of them so that they can
Yeah.
have the look that they really desire. It's
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
asking them the right questions
That's
so that
so
you can
critical.
get all of that information out of them
Yeah.
and then you can be, okay, cool, now that I know you want this, here's where we can go
Hmm.
next.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And even that is like a that's almost like an art of itself because that's learning how to get all of that out of people first.
Yeah. It's definitely knowing the right, like you said, the right questions to ask to pull that, because I don't know. Are you a hairstylist?
No, no, not a
No.
hairstylist, just a
Oh,
very much a hair enthusiast.
okay. So one thing that y'all lie about a lot is I haven't colored my hair. Girl, you a lie. I'm looking at your. First of all, I can look at your hair and tell you got a relaxer in it. Why are you lying? I haven't. You just had one about 3 months ago. Yeah, you ain't had one this month, but you got a relaxer in your head. I like it behooves me. Y'all just straight lie. Y'all forget everything, and so those questions are really critical because
Mm,
to be able to serve the client the way they need to be served, you have to have all of the information. Just for the
yeah.
general client, just like say you are doing a relaxer and the client just had a relaxer and she knows she ain't her relaxer didn't take, but she telling you she ain't do one because she wants you to still do the
Oh,
relaxer. Why are you lying now when you go bald, you're gonna think it's my fault. And I
oh
so
no.
but the question that you gotta learn as an artist, as a real hairstylist, because we don't just ask that question one time. We know how
Mm,
to stop and rephrase that question. Well, what did you
mm-hmm.
do to your hair a few weeks ago? And then, oh,
Yeah.
well, I put a texturizer. Girl, that's a relaxer. Y'all love to try to change the words because the box said something different. But yeah, no. So that just really that those words in the communication with asking the right questions, they really help you get further, but also for your work to look better and the
Yeah.
client to really appreciate it more. Because if the
Yeah.
client is trying to tell you something and you still doing what you know how to do, and you like, yeah, I did it, girl, but you never really listened to what she really wanted or he really wanted, you
Mm,
actually aren't serving them. And I promise you that if they get the opportunity to go to somebody else's chair, they are because you don't
yeah.
listen to them. And so I've definitely been one of those clients where, or stylists where I've been like, you not doing that. Absolutely will not do that. Because I also will turn around and tell them the education on why they
Mm,
shouldn't do it. And that
mm-hmm.
gives them, oh, damn, he told me why I can't do it. And then they'll
Mm,
come in again because y'all love to be hard headed. Come in and see Sarah sitting down getting hers done. Well, I thought I could get. Girl, you ain't got the same head of hair. And so to really be able to have like that dialogue, it's just important. It really is that consistent dialogue. And I don't know. I love that being a beauty school teacher. That's why I wish everybody had to go to beauty school after becoming a stylist for at least a month or a year to be able to
Mm,
teach, because there's a different level of knowledge that you have to teach something. You can't
yes.
just be reading the book and talk about, oh yeah, and we're gonna do it. You really have to know, because people that are watching you are clocking if you don't know what you're talking about. And
Mm,
so that deep dive on like that book that I had to do as an educator,
mm,
it wasn't just like it was the zoomed out version, because when you were a student, you like all in, you trying to figure out what's 1 plus 1, how do 1 plus 1 even equal to, right? But when you
mm,
zoom out, you start looking at, okay, I got all this knowledge in me. I got it in me. But now I need to like make it turn in a different way. I need to like think of it
yeah.
in my big boy draws, like in my big boy level, right? And like actually making this work for me. How can this work for me? Versus,
Mm,
yeah, I got the knowledge that I read from a book, but how can I actually apply it to this situation that's happening? And so
mm,
that knowledge, and going back to be a beauty school teacher, it affirmed all that I was learning in that school and gave me like extra knowing, and gave me a little bit more confidence to be able to say, every client that walk in here, I'm gonna give them some education today. Like every client gonna get some
mm,
education. They're gonna walk away with paying me to teach them. Like that's
yeah.
literally what I decided to do. So
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that I think help really heal. It feels like there's a bit of a broken relationship between stylists and customers sometimes, and I feel like education is one of the big things that can
yeah,
help to like
yeah, yeah.
heal and reconcile that.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
so that in mind, what are some of the biggest problems you're seeing in the textured hair community right now, and how do you think we can start to fix that?
Textured hair community. You know, okay, this is a girls. This for my black girls, and yeah, my black girls, because I know y'all. I see y'all. Please stop. You do not need to glue your wig down so hard. These
Mm,
stocking caps is really like the stocking cap before the
mm,
wig. If you're not putting a liquid band-aid or a barrier on your
mm,
scalp before applying those products, that is literally going to like start thinning. Like you're literally, no matter how much adhesive remover you put on it, that's just going to like kind of keep this pulling. So it's that. And
mm,
then I just want to talk about this because I got clients that wear wigs, but my clients are pretty experienced and aware of the fact that they can't keep this thing on every day. Like they're actually
mm.
more aware of the fact that wigs were not designed for everyday wear. These style wigs,
Yeah,
lace front wigs, were never designed for everyday wear. And the fact
yeah,
that we decided to create a glue, create a bonding, and all of these different agents to actually make this a thing, we have to take into consideration how to protect the hair. And so I
yes.
love this liquid protector. I think it's called like Safeguard or something like that. Or if you don't have that, literally a liquid band-aid. Liquid
Mm,
band-aid. Put that on your scalp before you start all of this other riffraff. And what it does, it literally just creates a barrier between your hair and all of these products that you're going to apply, and then put it on top of the hair. So that when you pull this, like you literally have, it's just like putting on gloves. You know what I mean? And before,
mm,
you put your wig, it's literally just like a little layer or something, and then you can clean it up. But it's really, I feel like our hairlines are going.
mhm.
And then the other thing, I was working on the show called To Catch a Beautician with Johnny Wright and Tamar Braxton, and that show was where I was on the episode where a girl had a bald spot because her friend had sold the wig band inside of there. And the tension from the wig band was so
Uh,
tight. She was like, girl, that thing didn't move. Yeah, it didn't move,
oh,
but it cut off all the circulation in your hair, and all of her follicles were dead in that entire area.
oh
And
no.
so that's why I say these ways that we are like learning to make it work just to for it to look good, girl, that is not it. That's not the
Mm,
move. And the thing about it is that if you're gonna do that, my suggestion to everybody is take your damn wig off at night.
Yeah.
Stop trying to sleep in this hair that isn't yours. You put it on
Mm,
so that you can protect your hair, yet you
mm,
decide to go to sleep in the and not even treat your hair. What is the
mm,
idea and the purpose? If you really braiding it up, how are you even gonna get under there to treat it? How are you gonna get
mm,
if you're not taking it off, you're really not giving it. I get it a week, but y'all going 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month.
mm,
Let me put a little bit more glue and tap it down. Like, oh my God, girl, take that off. Like, it's
mm,
not meant to be like that. If you want to
mm,
keep it in, get you a weave, or you know what you
mm,
can do. Don't you take a full lace wig and then go sew in that mug on. Go have somebody make you a lace front wig and then sew that on. So at least you got lace only where it
mm,
matters. The back is tracks like a wig, but you're not like
mm,
putting holes through all of this lace that somebody sat there and tied or the machine actually tied. What y'all be damaging lace like nobody's business, and that really just frustrates me. But
mm.
back to the moral of the story, I see those as like really big issues. The band, the keeping the glue on, and then not taking it off at night. Those are
Yeah.
like the issues that I really see that my black girls are struggling with. And I would strongly encourage you, just take one of those notes, make an adjustment somewhere, and one of
Mm,
those things will kind of help you make, more adjustments in the future and actually kind of move in the direction that, you want your hair to grow. But a lot of people aren't seeing growth.
mm.
Shoot, I have a client who got hair down her back and she still wear wigs. Like,
Okay.
I don't even like, and literally all she does is braid it up and put wigs on. Like,
Mm,
but she know when to take it off, and she also treat
yeah.
her hair, and she also wear her hair. Like, so it's the combination of knowing your hair and how to like do those little breaks in between and all that little stuff. Like every day is not you're not going somewhere every day, girl.
Yeah. No,
And
it's true.
you good?
No, sorry. That was just me agreeing with you.
No, yeah,
It's so true, but it's also so sad when people have those really bad experiences because they've done the wrong thing for so long. It's one thing, like,
mm,
we all make mistakes with our hair,
yeah,
and I think, doing that
yeah,
every now and then is fine, right?
mm-hmm,
But it's when
yeah,
somebody consistently does the wrong thing for their hair
mm,
and then that leads to
yeah,
damage. That's the sad
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the problem with wanting to be your own stylist, baby. You're not a professional, and I don't care. I don't like girls doing their hair. I think I don't like it. I get it. Sometimes your funds are not there. I just don't like girls doing their hair. And actually putting a
Mm.
wig on, it actually disgusts me because you can't even see where the glue needs to be and don't need to be. You are looking in the mirror, not over your head. Like there's a big perception difference that we don't realize. When you're standing over somebody, you can see all of the issues before you even put that wig down. But
Um,
women, oh my God, girl, what about all that hair that got glue on it that's back there that when you take it off, it's gonna fall, it's gonna pull out. Like it's so many moments that
mm,
I just think we just think, oh yeah, I seen the video, I can do that. No, like
mm,
if you're gonna do it, like really study it and then understand the why. And that's where I
mhm.
feel like stylists don't always do the why they're doing what they're doing, and even the YouTube stylists are not giving us the why to what they're doing because they aren't professionals. So it's
Mm,
just like sometimes it's just a matter of I believe that if you want your money to be worth it, you should be
mm.
asking your hairstylist questions about your hair because
Yeah,
that's the person that went to school to get the
yeah,
knowledge to be able to
yeah.
educate you. Like it's literally that simple. So if you
Mm,
don't know it, your hairstylist should be teaching you about it. So that when you're getting these services, if a hairstylist is just doing something and they're not telling you why they're doing something, get the fuck out of their chair because they don't give a fuck and they probably jipping your ass. They might not be doing all the services they saying they're doing. I don't trust them.
mm,
So
mm,
literally like ask questions and you should be able to understand why things are happening so that when you also are not in that salon and you go home and you're like, dang, my hair is it's a little springy this week. I probably need some protein. Oh,
mm,
my hair's a little dry this week. Probably need some moisture. I've been
mm,
having a little breakage in this area. Maybe I should do a treatment to try and figure out what it is, or I need to cleanse my scalp or change my diet.
mm,
But if you're not like communicating these questions or these issues to your stylist, just assuming that
Mhm.
every time you go, you say one thing and they're supposed to know everything about you, you got to think like a doctor has a record, right? And one of the
Mhm.
things that I was literally privileged as hell because my first boss was Jacqueline Robinson here in Detroit, and she every client had a card. Every client had a card with the date they came and what service they got. If they had a
Right.
treatment, it was a written out what that treatment was. If they got color, it was written out what that color was. If it was a
Right.
haircut, it was what haircut they got and how much the service was. Because guess what?
Mhm.
Now we ain't got two things to worry about: what she had last time and how much she gonna pay this time. Okay, because them two things I ain't got time to be trying to figure out. I didn't pay that much. I know how much you paid last time, and you're gonna pay the same, if not a little bit more this time.
No, that's all that's such an important thing to remember is how can you keep that consistency with
Yeah.
clients?
Yeah,
That
yeah. And it
consistency.
feels good too when you walk in and you be like, Jackie, what? Go look at my car, because I don't even remember.
Uh-huh.
It's like you know what I mean? It's literally like security to know, because maybe some people don't always come. Some people come every 3 months. They just get haircuts. They just do blah 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 blah. And so to
Mm,
know what that person gets when you don't see them that often is really helpful. And it also makes the client feel like, oh, this person actually remembers something about me, or they got my information there.
mm.
I kind of do the
It's
same thing with measurements and molds because it's that critical for me.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that completely makes sense. And I really loved like talking this through because it feels like there's so much for everybody to gain from listening to this conversation, whether it's
Mhm.
customers who have learned, please
Yeah.
always tell the truth. Not
Yes.
telling the truth does not help you, or your stylist, or your hair. Helps no one. Or stylists who are starting out or thinking about getting into wig making,
Yeah.
you know, they've just got a host of knowledge from somebody, like I said, who's
Yeah.
been there, done it, worn the t-shirt for a
Mhm.
very long time. So
Mhm.
I really appreciate everything that you've shared. An hour has gone by quickly.
Mhm.
But I have one more question, which is, you know, given I can imagine there are 101 things that you have been working on, but what is the next big thing for you?
Wow. The next big thing I can't really. Well, I don't know how people do this when they can't talk about what's the next big thing and how they talk about other things and then they circle back to coming back and talking about it when the time is right. I don't know if I'll get that time again, but right now I believe that my story is very important, and I'm documenting it as much as I can. And I
Right.
think that the next chapter for me is really like I need I will not feel satisfied until I have a curriculum that fully explains what it is that we do as wig engineers. I love the term wig engineer. One of my assistants helped me come up with this. We were going through and we were thinking, well, what do they do when, because I'm always going to try to figure out how I fit in with corporate, okay? Because y'all can try to be corporate as much as y'all want to, but bitch, I'm doing corporate too, okay? They're on a whole nother level. And so I just tried to figure out. It was important to word it the right way in order to get the right
Mm,
people to see it and be able to say, "I want to do that." And so I would look back, and my aunt's a chemical engineer, and
mhm,
then I remember saying, "Well, I engineer wigs.
mm,
I engineer them. So if I engineer wigs, maybe I'm a wig engineer, but what does that make people who don't engineer wigs? Because engineering, you create them, you design, you build, and you come up with the idea,
mm,
right? I have a lot of people under me that don't always want to build. Everybody don't want to really build. And so there's levels to it. So then you got a texture technician. That's the person that just rolls hair and perms hair to give hair texture. And then you
right.
have a wefting technician. That's somebody who just wefts hair. Then you got a color technician. You got all these people that are just technicians under this
Mhm.
umbrella of being an engineer. And for me, it helps to explain how vast this whole industry is and how
Yeah.
big it really is. Because, yeah, I have a lot of ideas, but honestly, I'll tell you this: I am not always the one who's ventilating the wig. I
Mm,
mentally already said that in the beginning. I have ADHD, so sometimes it's like, this week is not a good week and I'm not focused and I can't do it. So I have two assistants who, like, if one person can work on it, I'll send it to them. If another person can work
mm,
on it, I'll send it to them. Or we'll all work on it. You'll have the
Mm-hmm.
front, I'll have the middle, he'll have the back. And we're
Mm-hmm.
building. And so, sometimes it's just about knowing who's on the team, but knowing that everybody doesn't have to do every part of the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand that I'm a wig engineer. Some people are not going to want to do that. Some people are not going to want to do measurements. Some people, but
Mm,
I have that passion because I was in the chair, right? So I
yeah.
have the passion to bring the art to the client and also talk to the client a little bit and have that engagement. Whereas somebody who's not a licensed stylist and they just knot hair or they just roll hair or they just color hair, they don't have the same passions or ideas as me. So for me, I want to put all of
Mm,
this knowledge that I know inside of a curriculum, because I think that the best way, like I said before, is to not just talk about what I want people to have, but like give them knowledge and be able to say, now elevate your game. Because I know that once the knowledge comes out, these girls are not gonna be wearing these damn helmets no more. Because if they do, that goes to show that the stylist that they have is not interested in learning. Because I know how the world is right now. If I put out
mm,
anything, even if it's a paperback or something, right, the social media is gonna take that and use that and have it everywhere, right? And so if it's everywhere and you got this information that came from me everywhere and you're not giving it to your client and doing it the right way, you just a
mm,
stubborn, terrible artist. And that's all I'm giving you. Like, so it's literally like I want to put it out there because I know what this is going to serve the world. And I keep saying it. I do not believe that I can die with this in me. It's not going to serve
mm,
anybody. With this, all of this that I have inside of me in a grave will not serve anybody that's listening to this right now. It will never.
mm,
And so it's so important to like birth this baby that I have inside of me. Because the passion, you hear it in my voice, I'm not just talking crazy. I'm talking because I love wigs, and I can't even believe it. And I'm 35. I remember being, oh my, like I'm just getting older, and you know how you just start looking back, and I'm like, bro, I didn't even think I would make it to 35. I've had
mm,
so many scares in my life that was not supposed to have me here, and yet
mm,
I'm at 35, done accomplished the goal that I thought I would accomplish at the end of all of this when I was
mm,
25. Like, what do I do now? And
mm,
these past 10 years, I've literally just been learning as much as I can so that I can share.
mm.
Like, so that's the next chapter, is a chapter of sharing.
Oh, I mean, that sounds amazing for everybody to be able to experience that as well, because first of all, you can never have too much education. And
Yeah.
second of all, the only way for the industry to move forward is if we collectively take all of those learnings and actually apply them so people can have better experiences and stylists can be better stylists
Yeah.
because they have more
Hmm.
knowledge and they're able to do so much more with that.
Hmm. That's right.
So no, so we will look out for what's next, what's coming up next now that we have an inkling of what it is.
Be sure to
And
make sure everybody follows me on social as well. I would love that. I'm taking a little
yes.
hiatus. I'm back in January. But I definitely would love everybody to follow me on social. My social is the joy of wig making on all platforms:
Mhm,
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. The joy of wig making, and
mhm.
it's all one word. If you can't find it there, you can also type it in on Google, and Google will give you a link or something for one of those pages.
Yeah, we'll also add it into our newsletter. So anybody that
Oh,
gets
beautiful.
a copy of the newsletter that has the podcast in it, we will add links to all of the platforms that you can find and follow Darnell on. So you'll be able to get access to that, and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of the work that he's doing. So, well, first of all, a big thank you to you, Darnell, for coming on and speaking to us for the best part of an
Absolutely.
hour and sharing everything that you've shared. We really appreciate you.
Hmm. I thank you for the work that you're doing. I think that it's really important that you are, bringing awareness to an industry that, you know what, we are all artists, and
Mm,
you don't even realize it. No artist has even thought to stop again since the pandemic and do something like this, right?
mm,
And the reason why is because we're just artists. And so the fact that you have the inkling to be like, no, we should talk about this a little bit more. This could be a great conversation. It's really helpful to us, right? It's helpful to our industry. It's helpful to the people
mm.
that's listening. So thank you for showing up and doing this and having this thought and bringing it to life, Jade. This is great.
Oh, No, thank you so much. And well, couldn't do it without people like you coming on and talking about their journey. So I appreciate you and all of the other people we've had on as guests as well as all the people listening, because we can't
Yeah,
produce a podcast without people coming back and listening every week.
yeah.
So I'm super grateful to the listeners for coming back again, making it to the end of an hour. And if you know anybody that could benefit from listening to this, please share it. Share it with stylists, share it with other people that love getting their hair done, share it with people that actually struggle to get their hair done because they don't know what a good stylist looks like or sounds like,
And
because they
share
will
with
learn.
somebody who's going through a rough time, who
Yeah,
might be in the middle of chaos,
yeah.
and they have a gift or they have something and they just can't see it through right now. Share it with them, because I promise they'll thank you in the end. I know this story is not mine. It's literally God. The entire podcast, I have not been speaking. This has been God speaking, and I'm about to check out. No, I'm joking. No, it's literally God, though.
We have to give thanks for that. Like we're so grateful to be in a position to share your story and to have people that are interested and want to hear it. And like you said, be inspired by that too. So again, a big thank you to everybody who has listened and made it to the end. And we will see you on the next episode.